Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up? I have 6 simple AI automations today that literally everyone should be using. My name's Duncan. I build AI automations for business owners and content creators to help them make more money and save some time. So let's hop right into the first automation. So this automation is literally so simple. It is just a automatic email responder for when new clients pay you for the first time, and it will make you money time and time again. It's going to build better relationships with your clients and let them know that they are taken care of. They will remember you for this simple automation. Basically, all it does is it recognizes when a client has made a payment and it sends them a thank you email. And then a few minutes later, it sends them an onboarding and next steps email so they know how to get started. So I'm just going to run this through and I'm going to show you how it works. So as soon as they pay you, 7 minutes later, they have 2 emails already in their inbox waiting for them. This first email is just a basic thank you email that says, thank you for taking care of that invoice so promptly. I look forward to working together. And then the other email they get from you is this little follow-up email that just kind of gives them a few more details about what they can expect and then inviting them to book a call, which is like a kickoff call where you can get more information from them. So let me walk you through how this is built. So this first module is just representing where your payment processor. In my case, it'd be Stripe, maybe use something else. I just have the client full name and the client email. This is basically what you'd be pulling in. I have the actual Stripe module down here, but I didn't want to have to send myself a payment. So I basically just set that information in here. So after this runs, basically what this does is this just takes the client full name. And here you can see it just strips out the first name from the email. So it's just Brian. So if the client's name is Brian Johnson, all we want to do in our emails, we just want to say, hey, Brian, we don't need to use his full name. And then we're pulling in the email here. Then I have the sleep timer, and this is just designed to wait 4 minutes. For when I ran it through just now, I have it set to 3 seconds just so we could run through it really quickly, but you could set this for, 240 seconds. And so basically this is just to give a little bit of time between when Brian sends you a payment and when you send him an email, so it doesn't look like you're, a robot. So it seems like a real person might have actually received the payment and responded really quickly. Then I just have this really basic little email template all hooked up to Gmail, right? Basically, we're just putting in the client's email. Again, we're just linking to this first module here, the client email. We have the subject, thank you and welcome aboard. I just hard coded this in. You can rewrite this to whatever you want. And the content type is just this little bit of HTML formatting. It's just, hi, the client's first name, and then 2 line breaks, right? This will just put, 1 line break and then an extra space. And it just says, thanks for taking care of that invoice so promptly. I'm really looking forward to working together and I'm confident we can nail this for you. Then there's 2 more line breaks and it says, I'll send you some onboarding instructions plus a calendar in a moment. We can then book a call to kick off the project. Talk soon. Thanks again. Neat. Super simple. And then from there, it just goes down the second route where I have just, a 3-second or a 3-minute sleep timer. So I'll put this back up to 180 seconds. So basically, again, just to give a little breathing room between the 2 emails. Then we have the same structure here with the client email, the HTML. We just have another email. Hi, Brian. Just following up on my last email. Our next step is booking an onboarding call. TLDR, automation services often involve a number of platforms that can be logistically tricky to manage, like 2-factor authentication, credential sharing, et cetera. So if you are an AI agency and you're booking clients, you know that you're going to need their logins. You're going to need to set them up with 2-factor. You're going to need to figure out ways to get these systems in their accounts. And so there's a lot of details that need to be worked out. So it's really good to just get on these onboarding calls, kind of let your client know what to expect from the process and kind of what information you need from them so that you can actually get started building. I usually take care of all that on a quick onboarding call where we set up the groundwork live on a screen share in 20 minutes. It's so helpful for your clients just to do this in person, get that information, set it up, put it someplace safe so that they can actually see you, that you're already starting to work with them right here on this very first call. This also gives us a chance to go over some timelines. And then here's a link. And I just included my own little Calendly link. In the text, do you mind booking a slot? It's just a little HTML formatting. You can put your own link in here too. Ideally, we would do this in the next 72 hours. Let me know whatever works best for you. And if you need anything else in the meantime, thank you, me. And that's the whole automation, right? You just kick this off. It's basically set up to run automatically on a trigger every time you receive a new payment from a client, and then it drafts these emails for them. If you want to get access to any of the automations that I show today, it's super easy. They're all available inside of my school community. This one right here is in this onboarding automation. You can see I have a full-length video where I go over this in detail. And then you can just come down here. You can download the blueprint for this. And then when you come into make.com, all you have to do is come down to these 3 dots, go ahead and click import blueprint, choose the file, navigate to where that is, and just go ahead and click enter and open this up, and the whole automation will pop in for you. Let's move on to the next one. This one is a TikTok scraper. So if you're like me and you create content, you basically want to know what your competition is doing. So basically this entire automation is just set up to run. It's based off of any of the profile names or handles that you set. It's going to scrape the profiles. It's going to get their latest trending content from TikTok. It's going to run this through Appify, which is this really great platform where you can find a whole bunch of different scrapers. So you can come into console.appify.com. And if you search for TikTok, I'm using the free TikTok scraper. This is really easy to set up. It's $4 for 1,000 results, so it's really cheap to run. You can scrape a whole bunch of profiles for this. And basically the way you set this up is you just come into profiles and you can go ahead and add the names of any of the profiles that you want to use. And then all you need is to copy this JSON here, and I'll show you how this is set up in just a second. In order to get access to the Appify API, you just come into your own settings, go to API and integrations, and you can just copy your API token here. So we can see this takes a little bit of time to run because I'm scraping, like, if you come in here, you can see I'm scraping 20 different competitors, as well as my own account, because I kind of want to see where I stack up next to my competitors. So I think I'm scraping like 30 videos from each competitor, and then I'm going to store them all in a single Google Sheet file. And so in a second here, you're going to start to see this entire list populate with all of the data that we just scraped. Cool. So you can see here in just a couple minutes, we scraped literally like hundreds and hundreds of rows of data. And basically we come in here, you can see we have the creator name, we have the video title, we have a link to that video, the length of the video, how many views, likes, comments, and shares. So there is a ton of information for you to basically sort through. And if you wanted, what you could do is you could just come into a row like views, and you can do sort sheet Z to A, and now we can basically see which type of content is getting the most views. So it's a video from Ask Cat. MCP might sound like a club drug, but it's actually a really cool example of humans coming together. And if you want, you can basically just go ahead and click this link to the video. It's going to open up the video in TikTok, and you can watch the video for cues on how to format this or what text she puts on screen. If you're like me, this tool is insanely valuable. You can basically run this once a week or something like that just to see what content is trending that week, so you can kind of create content that mimics what's already working. So basically the way to set this up is really simple. All I have is just set multiple variables node, and I basically just have a list of 20 different content creators and basically their handle in here, and I'll just put those in here. Then from there, I have that scrape profiles. I have the Appify node to set up to scrape profiles, and I'm basically using that same free TikTok scraper that we already looked at. This checkbox right here is actually super important. You want to make sure when you're using Appify, you click yes, run synchronously. And what that means is it's actually going to wait for Appify to finish scraping everything I've set up to start scraping before it sends the information onto the next module. If you have this checked as no, basically what will happen is as soon as you click this to run, it's just going to try to move on to the next node. But since there's no information yet, because it hasn't finished scraping, you're going to get an error. So just make sure you check yes here. And in the input JSON, you remember that we basically looked at the JSON here, and this is basically that same thing. It just has way more profiles in it. And basically every single one of these, you can see it's just linked to something from the set profiles node before. From here, we need a Appify get dataset items, and you're basically just piping in the default dataset ID. If you come in here, you can just search for default, and basically this is the default dataset ID from the previous node. It's a two-step process, but this takes like 2 seconds to run this one. You just make sure the format is JSON, and we just set a really high limit to make sure that we get all of the data from it. Then from here, I'm just using a text aggregator, and this is definitely like a pretty complicated formula, so I recommend you come into the school community and grabbing this. But basically, this is just kind of like, cleaning up everything so that we get a nice clean output, stored in all of these different kind of bundles like this. And from there, I'm just using a call to Google Sheets to bulk update a row. You can see here that instead of actually having to go through 1,000 operations to store all of this, which if you're just using a regular call to Google, you'll have to do, and you're going to eat through your make.com operations really quickly. This is just making a bulk call to update everything. You can see it did it all with a single operation, which is super, super powerful. It's going to save you a ton of money in the long run. Love that sound. Somebody just joined the school community. Shout out to Tristan. Thanks for joining. So if we come back into this Google Sheets node, you can see we have the URL to that specific spreadsheet. We have some headers to make the API call, and then basically we just have values, and then we have this long array of text that is coming from the aggregator before, so that we can store everything really nicely in this formatted spreadsheet. So this next automation is a really simple LinkedIn poster, and basically what it's designed to do is to get a blog article and turn it into a LinkedIn post. So here's a blog article about navigating the hype of agentic AI, and all you have to do is come in here and just paste in the URL, go ahead and click run. And what it's going to do is going to get the HTML, it's going to convert it to Markdown, it's basically going to pull out just the body, the main copy of the article. It's going to write a LinkedIn post for you. It's even going to generate an image and post it directly to your LinkedIn account. Cool, so that just posted to LinkedIn, and if we come over to my LinkedIn account, and I'm just going to go ahead and click refresh here, basically scroll down to my posts, and you can see that we have an entire post based off of that blog article. Is your business getting caught up in the agentic AI hype? Let's cut through the noise and focus on what truly matters for enterprise success. Here are some insights to navigate the journey. 1, understand your needs. 2, targeted implementation. 3, prepare for complexity, etc. And then it even generated this image for us based off of the content of the article. So basically everything is customizable. You can customize the way it writes and the way the images are generated. So let me just show you how this works here. So the first thing that we're doing is basically we're just setting, the URL for the article with the set variable node, right? And we're just calling this article URL. From there, we're just using a really simple HTTP request to get the URL from the previous step. This is, kind of duplicative work, but I just like having the set variable module. To me, it just kind of like looks and feels cleaner. This HTTP module is basically going to output this really long HTML document for us. And then I'm just using the HTML to Markdown node to basically convert the HTML to a Markdown format, which is still long, but not quite as long. Then I'm using a ChatGPT node here to just extract the body of the article, because all I want is the main body text. And so all this is saying is please extract the main body text from this article. Then I'm just piping in the markdown from the node before. And it says only respond with the article body. Do not include any intros and outros, because we don't want it saying anything like, okay, like here's the article for you. We just have a little system prompt. You are a helpful, intelligent research assistant. Super basic stuff there. Now, if we come into the output, scoot this over here, you can basically see navigating the hype of agentic AI begins with understanding. And then basically this is just the main content of the article all through here. And then once we have the article body, what we're doing is we're actually generating the LinkedIn post. So we're also using ChatGPT for this. We have a system prompt that just says you're an expert LinkedIn content strategist specializing in creating high engagement posts. Your task is to take the text of an article and transform it into a compelling LinkedIn post using platform best practices. Then I have some best practices listed in here. And then I have the role, the user role that just says, here's an article, and it gives it the article from the previous node. And it says, turn this into an engaging LinkedIn post that follows the best practices. Then I say, start with a compelling hook, highlight key takeaways, et cetera, et cetera. Let's go ahead, click save. Then from there, we're just generating an image, right? And you can see if we come into here, the LinkedIn post, we get this result, which is what we saw posted to my feed. From there, we're just generating an image using ChatGPT, and I'm straight up just piping in the result of the previous node. And so if you wanted, this is where you could come in and you can make changes to this prompt to get a different result from your image generation. From there, we're just using another HTTP request to get the file from the URL that comes out of generate an image URL. And there, we're just connecting this to our LinkedIn account, just grabbing the file. This will automatically link up for you. Then we're just grabbing the content from the right LinkedIn post module here, coming into the result. We're just piping that in there, and then we're publishing this to our main feed. Next, if you're a content creator, especially if you're creating content on YouTube, this automation is super, super powerful. Basically, it will scrape all the profiles of anyone that you want, and it's going to get their videos for you. And based off of the content of their videos, it's actually going to generate brand new ideas. So it's a way to sort of copy and mimic ideas that are already working without stealing them directly. So this is, again, using Apify and using Apify to scrape the profiles and get a bunch of videos. Then it's going to store them inside of our database before moving on to generate new ideas. So basically now if we come into the Airtable database, you can see it start to populate with videos from the future. And we have some videos from Gary Vee coming in. And then we're going to see some videos from me popping after that, because these are the names that I said. So basically, if you come in here and you open these up, you basically get the creator name, the description of the video, which is just the title. The source is YouTube, the length of it, how many views there are, and a link to the video that you can just go ahead and click and open it up.
I've got a quick one.
And here again, I just have this sorted by views, so we know how many people are watching what. But the coolest part of this is this other tab, the ideas tab. So basically what it's doing is it's analyzing the themes from all of the videos for each of the creators. And it's just going to go ahead and it's going to create new ideas for us, like uncovering pricing secrets, explore the strategy of withholding pricing information till key details are addressed in sales or negotiation. Or we can have something like automate 10 social media platforms easily, explore how to automate posting across 10 different social media platforms seamlessly. So we'll cover setting up accounts on an automation tool, linking each social media platform and scheduling posts, et cetera, et cetera. Or 3 AI hacks for 5K monthly income. Explore 3 effective AI automation strategies that can consistently generate $5,000 per month in passive income. So these are just ideas for new videos. So let me show you how this one works. So basically what we're doing here is we're just setting the channel URLs, again, using a set multiple variables module. We have one for me, we have one for Gary Vee, and we have one for the future. Then again, we're using an Apify actor. This one's called the Streamers YouTube Channel Scraper. Again, remember, run synchronously is checked yes. And then here's that JSON. Again, we'll copy that from Apify. From here, we're just feeding in all 3 channels with the get method here. Again, you're just copying and pasting this and then putting your channels in here. And basically what we're doing is here, this max results. I was just scraping 3 videos per channel, but you could turn this up to 50 if you wanted to scrape 50 videos, right? From there, we're just getting the data set. And so basically then we're just going to aggregate everything together because the get data set items will have everything in a single bundle. And what we want to do is we want to pull them all together so then we can actually go through them one at a time. So from here, you can see we just have a single array with all of the information. Then what we're doing is we're just iterating through each one of those videos one at a time so we can then store them inside of the Airtable database as an independent record. From here, we're just using Airtable, setting the base to the base that we saw. And now we're just taking the creator name from the iterator node right before, coming from the channel name. The title is going to go in the video description, the duration, the view count, and the URL. And then we're feeding all this information into a ChatGPT node. So let's open this up here. So we just have the system prompt. You are a helpful and intelligent expert in social media and content creation with a focus on AI and automation. Analyze the provided data, which consists of YouTube video titles and view counts. Your task is to create new video ideas based on best performing content as quantified by view count. So basically, it's going to analyze which content has the most views, and it's going to create new ideas for that. Then it's just going to say, rank your suggestions from most to least relevant, et cetera, et cetera. Here's some more formatting stuff, right? And then from there, we're just going to store the new ideas, again, in that Airtable database, just in a different table called ideas. And basically the result, if we come in here, you can open up any one of these operations. It ran it once per video. We can come in here and you can see basically it has a new idea and it has the description. And you just want to make sure that if you're outputting like this, you can come in here and you want to make sure that down at the bottom, let me let this load. Down at the bottom, you've come down here in the advanced settings and you have parse JSON responses set to yes and the response format set to JSON. So that way we can come in here and we can basically grab the results from the idea and the description in the description here from the idea generator. This next one functions kind of similarly, but instead of scraping YouTube videos, we're actually scraping the comments. And so if anybody knows anything about social media, some of the most valuable information actually comes from the comments of the video. Real people saying like, hey, this video is great, but like, I would love to learn about this, or can you talk about this thing? Or maybe you missed this idea. Like, I need to know more about that. And so you can just get straight up ideas for new content based off of what other people are talking about in the comments. And so now you don't have to sit there and, sift through 100 comments on 100 different videos. This automation can do it for you. So basically what it's doing is it's scraping the comments, it's going through, it's generating new ideas. And then we actually have this virality agent so that if you come in here, you can see we scraped a video here from Alex Hormozy. And then basically it's going to generate new ideas along with a virality score for each idea. And so you can kind of just come in here and it seems to think that the blueprint to your first million, share a successful business roadmap for beginners, encouraging those in their first year as reflected in supporting future aspirations expressed by the audience. So basically just thinks that this is going to have a virality score of 8, which means it has a high chance to go viral. So maybe you want to create ideas based off of this topic. And if you want, of course, you can just go ahead and click this and open it up to get straight to the video. So let me show you how this works. This one works really similarly, but instead of using a creator name, you're basically just going to copy the URL from a video. So I just copied this Alex Hormozy video. Come in here and you're just going to paste that in. Then from there, again, we're using an Apify actor. This is the YouTube comment scraper. This format should be really familiar for you right now. Basically, Apify scrapers are extremely powerful. They literally have them for everything. And here you're just typing in the URL from before, and this is the max number of comments. So you could set this again to 100 comments if you want to get the top 100 comments. And then from there, we're just getting the data. We're aggregating it all together. This is, for each video. And basically, we're just using this text aggregator now to basically go through and aggregate every single comment. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're aggregating 10 comments together. So what we can do from there is that we can basically generate new ideas. And I'll show you at the end why we actually have a second get dataset item here, but we'll come back to this. Basically, the next thing you need to know is this idea generator, and it actually functions very similarly to the other one. So basically what we have here, scoot this over, just says analyze YouTube comments to generate 5 ranked video suggestions tailored to viewers' interests, feedback, and sentiment. Each idea will include a relevant emoji and concise curiosity-inducing title under 15 characters. Then it just gives us some details about how it should rank the content, right? That's the user prompt. And then we have a system prompt down here that just says, do not include any intros or outros, only include the ideas and descriptions. So from here, from the idea generator, you can see the result. We basically have our 5 video ideas right here with like a little name, with like a name for the video, like script writing made simple, and a description of what that video should be about. And again, this is based off of the comments that are coming in. And then we have the virality agent, right? And so basically the virality agent's job is to rank these based off of the chance to go viral. So it just says evaluate the viral potential of each of the ideas using this assessment framework, rank it with a score of 0 to 10. And then here's some of the framework like relevance and timeliness. Is it unique and original? Will it have emotional impact? Is it relatable? Is there visual appeal? Is it high for interactivity and engagement, et cetera, et cetera? And then some scoring guidelines and a few examples. Then from there, you can go into the result and you can basically see the output of all this. Then from here, we're just storing this inside of Airtable. And so this is the reason why we have the second get dataset item. It's literally just a duplicate of this first one that's linking back to the same actor run. And if you see here, because we're aggregating the data, this is basically, you can see it here by kind of like this gray box around these three nodes. It's kind of like creating like a little grouping of these. And now once we go to store the data, we actually no longer have access to the information in this dataset node. And so it's kind of like a bug. And there's just this little workaround where basically all you have to do is just put a second dataset node in there, link to the same default dataset ID from the actor run from before. See, now that it's outside of this little gray box, you basically have access to it again. And again, this runs in like 2 seconds, so it's not that big of a deal. So from here in the Airtable database, we're basically just linking to the author name of the second get dataset item. The title is coming from the YouTube title, the title of the video, right? And the result from the idea is basically coming from this idea generator here. And so this last one that every business owner should be starting to set up is a very basic AI agent. I'm just calling this like a communications agent. It's basically designed to do a couple things like schedule meetings, write emails for you, and then research and write Twitter and LinkedIn posts for you. This is super powerful. This is all linked up to Telegram. And if I go ahead and I click run once, I can just say, write a LinkedIn post, the latest news from OpenAI. What this is going to do is it's basically just going to send this off here. Basically, we have a couple different things going on. First, we have a director agent, and the director's agent's job is to analyze the incoming message and decide where we should send this to, right? And so it correctly identified that basically this is a social media post. What it's going to do is it's going to come down to this social media route, right? From there, we have the social media manager, whose job is to decide basically, is this a LinkedIn post, a Twitter post, or both? And you can see here, we have the LinkedIn post. It's going to research the information with Perplexity, and then it's going to write the post based off of, again, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, or both. And then it's going to store this all in an Airtable database. So if I just come over to the Airtable database, you can see this is the topic, latest news from OpenAI. That's what I asked. Then we can see here, it did this research and it actually crafted this into a LinkedIn format. So OpenAI's latest breakthroughs are reshaping the AI landscape. But what does this mean for you? GPT 4.5 unveiled, new research tools. They have deep research and they have cost-effective solutions. There's research emphasis, et cetera, et cetera. So now we have a LinkedIn post. And what's cool about this structure, basically you can come in here and you can edit this before it goes live. So we can delete some of this formatting, like we can delete these asterisks if we don't like them, or we can make changes to the copy before we actually go to post. Likewise, basically you can click run this once. You can just say, send Brian an email to talk about our latest automations build. Go ahead and send that off. And so if we come in here, you can see the director is analyzing this and it's correctly identified that now we basically need to send this to the communications manager, right? In the communications manager, are we just doing an email or is this a calendar or scheduling event? And it's going to search our Google contacts. It's going to send, get the current date and a link from our meeting. If there's, if we basically scheduled a meeting, we didn't do that in this case. It's going to write an email for us and it's going to create a draft in our email. So if I just come over to my email here, I can come into draft. And say, sent to Brian, discussions on latest automation build. And it just says, hi, Brian, hope this finds you well. I'd like to discuss our latest automations build. Let's connect on the scheduled date. And then it says you have a meeting set, but we don't have a meeting set yet, right? So maybe what we can do instead is we can say, schedule a meeting with Brian to talk about the latest automations build and send him an email letting him know about the event. So now we can go in here and we can see the director is appropriately sending this to the communications manager. It's getting our Google contact. It's going to go ahead and it's going to schedule a meeting based off our availability. It's going to get a link and now it's actually going to send an email to Brian. And so if I come back in here and I come back into my drafts, I should have a new draft. It's this latest one. I'm going to close this one. And it just says, hi, Brian, I've scheduled a meeting to discuss the latest automations build. We'll meet on May 12th at 9 a.m. PST. And then it's actually going to even include a link to the meeting. And if I come into my calendar here, you can see we have the latest automations build all set on the calendar and a meeting scheduled with Brian. If you thought this video was helpful, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to get access to any of the automations we discussed, make sure you pop into the school community. I'm adding to the classroom every single day. I'll see you inside.